wafts of smoke going up to the... I was going to say heavens, but the idea that it's somewhere else, I think, is just a misperception. It's the ocean we swim in. It's the air we breathe. It's not so far away. And yeah, I'm trying to speak up. I've been trying to address the sound system. Bottom of the deck is interesting. Hangman Devil. I've ordered a new lapel mic, and I can't troubleshoot on your end, and that's part of the frustration, I think, is because some people have no sound problems and other people have big sound problems and get very frustrated by it, and I can't listen to you and so on. And I'll do my best to address it on my end. It may be your equipment. I don't know. It's not everybody's equipment, so that may be part of the issue, is just things that impede communication, and it's your fault. No, it's your fault. No, it's your fault. And of course that can be a big roadblock to compromise, and we each have to check in with ourselves and try to figure out, is there something I'm doing in reaction to the other person or whatever it is. I had a kind of a visitation this morning, trying to think about if there was a focus to this reading. And I had a friend in grade school, like beginning in 7th grade, maybe 6th grade, 7th grade, and was a friend through the rest of our lives together, with the caveat that this person, who I loved being around initially, just so fun, and we were so simpatico, and it became apparent to me pretty early on that her family, world card, her family was, she was the black sheep, and that she was the scapegoat. Scapegoat comes from a tradition, I think, in Greece, where, a goat would be picked out and everybody would pile their sins, metaphorically speaking, upon this goat, but then the goat would be sacrificed. It's kind of a precursor to putting the Savior on the cross, I think. But this woman, she was, 13 years old, 14 years old when we first got to be friends. And it was clear to me her family vilified her. And they were uptight, socialite, Washington socialite people. And my family lived outside the city and was much more laid back and eccentric, and could accept her eccentricity. And my mother, who had a way of taking in strays or women that she felt needed support. I mean, maybe that's where I got it, but I did that with all my friends. I mean, most of them were kids that the authorities or the other teachers, or even my friend group was saying, this person's trouble, why are you opting to be friends with her? And I had great loyalty to this person. But eventually they were so damaged. I mean, she became an addict and was self-harming, and my mother and I brought her into our household, and one of the members of my household, who was very screwed up, messed with her, So I brought her in to keep her safe, and it ended up being not a safe environment for her. And she couldn't find that anywhere. And as a result, she was, hurt people hurt people. And finally, I kind of realized I can't do this anymore. It just put me in peril to be around. I mean, she'd call me up and say, I've cut myself. I'm bleeding on the other end of the phone, and then she'd hang up. So I just tried to cut the cord because I could feel myself spiraling down with her into the dark, and I couldn't bring her back, and I couldn't allow myself to So I'm not sure what this card signifies. She got better 40 years later, something like that, and kept saying she moved out of the country. She set up her own scene in a wholly different place and kept saying, come visit, come visit. And I would have loved to go visit. It was a beautiful place where she lived. She seemed to be better. She kept saying, there's great coffee here. It's warm. I'll give you a room. It's wonderful. And she'd encountered trouble there too. She became sort of a magnet for trouble. It was tragic. And I wish I'd gone and seen her because within a few years, some years, she was gone. And I don't really know the circumstances. I know she had a host of health problems based on drugging and drinking and exposing herself to just terrible situations. And at some point it was kind of, I had this idea for a long time, I can save you. Just come into my home. Just I see the good in you, please. And she couldn't do it. And I had a few friends from that era when I was very young who started to spiral down. And I kept saying, I can, just talk to me. I can bring you back. And I did that into adulthood. Always drawn to these people who were on the brink of. This is stepping into a whole new, this is rebirth. One cycle really concluding and the ability to step through into the new thing, because the old thing has been resolved. Lessons have been learned. Healing has happened. And we could never step through together. We were never really in sync. I once said to her, it's so hard for me to be around you now because being around you for years, I took such injury. I took such a beating. It hurt me so much, And she said, I never even thought about your end. I mean, she was honest about it. I never thought about that. I never even considered you. I was in such pain. I just knew, I thought you were a good person. I knew you loved me. And it ended there. Your vulnerability, it didn't even occur to me. It didn't hurt you on purpose because I wasn't even aware you could be hurt. And it wasn't a failure of imagination on her part. It was being so, not distracted by, but, so steeped in her own situation. I was right to know that she was in trouble, and the wouldn't say the mistake, but I thought I could throw her a lifeline. And I did throw it, and she never latched on. And I was ready to jump in and swim out and try to bring her back. And so I feel guilt to this day, probably. And she was trying to absolve me this morning energetically, just like, it's okay, I'm okay, I get it now. You need to get it. You're the one who needs to let go. You were right to cut the cord. You made the right decision. Two of Wands. And where do I go now? This person is holding the world in their hands. World card, Major Arcana, last card in the Major Arcana. You know, some sort of journey through the psyche that has brought us to this point, where we're going to step through into new life. It's a card of Capricorn, having learned the lessons, done the work. Saturn, you know, the great teacher, the Lord of Karma. So I think the question she would have me ask is kind of, what now? What's my prayer? Where do I go? Do I step through this portal? And it seems like a decision has been made to go forward. This individual is holding on to one stave. And staves are directional, and they're about purpose and intuition and action. This person is in the planning stage to step through the portal. Through the portal. I'm sorry, the lighting is weird this morning. And again, a card of decision. Two of Pentacles. Weighing it up, trying to figure something out. What's practical? What's real? Where is solid ground? And wherever I'm going isn't where I've been, because some big cycle has concluded. I've learned a lesson, I've stepped through, you know, so my decisions in 3D are informed by that. And with that Capricorn energy of having learned the lesson, well, let's see. Okay. I was thinking about this Two of Pentacles card, Hermit. Hermit goes under world, but its reference point is this choice. This card to me is about moving through the portal to enter the new place, because archetypally there's been such a change that we now have the choice. How do we go forward? And we're still on the fence a little bit. And to make the choice in Earth energy, Pentacles energy, there's a need to go to the place of inner wisdom, Hermit energy, into a kind of retreat from external influences in order to become enlightened. You know, this is about learning the karmic lesson. In Earth energy, Capricorn. And here's the Virgo energy of being able to access the lesson, the enlightenment, by removing oneself. And I think it's the way I, you know, in that jumping off story of my friend, I had to pull back. I had to value my own life and my own path, my own karma was both to attach to this person and then detach. And I think I underestimated the potency of my love for her and my family's love for her that actually made a change. Maybe we couldn't see it. It didn't get to the surface. She was still, for a long time, steeped in addiction and the repercussions of abuses she had suffered at other people's hands that we couldn't wipe clean. So she really had to do this solo journey herself, the spiritual retreat. For herself, the 9 card. Hermit's journey is a solitary journey. I think Hermit always comes back into the world as a teacher based on what they've been through, because they've been through it. And now they're looking back, assessing, where does this leave me now? And I come back in the world and I have choices about where to go. And it's worth taking the time, because hermits speak to time, taking the time to really consider. It's a new path. How do we navigate it? Tell us about 2 of Wands, please. The choice to, it's not the luxury, but it's having done the work in a new phase, World card. Now we've earned the right to choose how to go forward. High Priestess. We got 3 major arcana cards. High Priestess is divine feminine energy of intuition. And it can be about choice. Sitting between these 2 pillars, trying to decide based on intuition, between these two. How do I enter the mystery of my own life? How do I pass through? Based on my intuition and my kind of mystical understanding what I've extracted from life, Pentacles energy. And then I turn inward and take my time to absorb the lesson. Is it these? Under 2 of Pentacles, 7 of Pentacles. What do I invest in a here and now, the raw materials of life? What growth am I going to focus on? Trying to assess in Pentacles energy, Earth energy. Have I taken the time to grow into my own spiritual self? And the universe seems to be saying, yes. You're ready to enter the mystery, to enter it. Stay grounded, but supple, ready for change. 2 of Pentacles can be the dance of change. Here I am doing the dance. So it's a dynamic, it may be consideration over a long time, but it's dynamic and it's gaining momentum. But first, there's a need to contemplate that sage energy, contemplate the mystery, and embody it. And she sits between the pillars, the black and the white, these apparent opposites. She's a receptive energy. See these scoops on her ears? She's hearing the messages from the other world. She's channeling things that other people can't hear. And like with my friend, I couldn't explain it to her. because it's really a journey you have to take on your own. I got the image of like I couldn't, there are people you love, but you can't follow them into hell. They have to go into their own, the depths of their own beings and extract the lesson to learn from it, the karmic lesson, world card, to learn about their own limitations, and hear messages for themselves. It's like you can't always be the channel. She can't talk about it. She can't explain it. She honors the other person's journey, that they have to do, they have to walk that lonesome valley. They have to walk their way out of. Tell us about the hell on Hermit. Yeah. That was the hell. She'd been hurt. And sometimes, in some bizarre way, pain is the teacher. And it wasn't like she deserved the pain she got, but she had to somehow figure it out, sword energy, for herself. How to turn that, the terrible thing she went through. The challenge was, how can I extract the wisdom from it? How can I learn from it, sword energy? And come back into the world, and I think she did come back as a teacher. She did her work with animals. She developed this whole rescue system for animals where she lived, where she was an expat. In a country where there were a lot of, not a lot of, tying the tubes and preventing unwanted pregnancies among these animals, so they proliferated and nobody cared about them. And she'd bring them into a rescue situation and knew how herself to perform the operation. And she went around in a van to do the surgeries, convincing people in a country that it was not popular at all to limit population. I have no idea what that has to do with it. I think she couldn't have children of her own because of what she'd been through in her life. All she could do was keep herself alive. And she did that against really all odds and against her own impulse to destroy herself. I've seen the needle and the damage done. Makes me want to cry. So on 7 of Pentacles, this, what do we invest in now? Here and now in our life, what do we want to grow? And I think it's the fresh heart. To regain some kind of innocence, the willingness to give, to give love, what we can, even if it's just a little. Love medicine. She could not only learn from her own pain, but teach other people how to, go into a retreat. Because this isn't about the lesson from what other people have done. It's the lesson, kind of a direct line to understand our own pain and how to, I can't even think of the word, but how to transcend it, but to exact some kind of sweetness, the ability to still love and to grow it. understand the value of connection. Because I think for a while her ability to connect in a healthy way was completely off the rails. And at least to me, for a long time, she brought this. It was like the contagion of pain. She couldn't help but pass it on. And then somehow found her own balance and her own connection really to higher power. That ability to hear them. I mean, I think she came through it as a highly spiritual being. She didn't deserve it. It was dealt to her. On the world card, Page of Wands, a lot of young energy here, a lot of energy of rebirth. You know, you go through it, you come out the other side as a new being on a new path. Where do I go now? I'll walk the road. I'll enter through the portal. I'll make this decision to move forward. I think it's about reincarnation too. I mean, no doubt she's coming through to me this morning as a pointing me in a new direction. Like, come through fresh and guilt-free. Maybe my karma is to process my guilt over leaving her behind. And she's saying, didn't leave me behind. I had to do this myself. Nine card. The card of nine speak to the self. I had to process my own pain. You couldn't do it for me. You couldn't even explain to me about how to do that. I had to make that journey through my own psyche myself. I had to walk that lonesome valley. And I came through. I entered a new phase as a fresh, young, youthful, new path energy. I love that. I love that for us. I love that for her. On Two of Pentacles, Queen of Wands. I think if it's a next life, she comes through very fiery, full of life, full of power, full of mystical power. You know, this is the mystic of the minor arcana. I can't even remember her birthday or what sign she was. But deeply tapped into her intuitive energy. Divine Feminine, where to go and what to do on the other side. She's empowered now, Wands energy, to move forward and inward. And it's kind of a prerequisite to move internally, you know, to get that intuitive sense of how do I move forward. I couldn't do it for her. It was presumptuous to think I ever could. I let myself off the hook a little bit because it started when we were babies. When we were babies. Bad things happened to both of us. I think at the hands of the same person who is somebody we were supposed to be able to trust. I had a good home life. She didn't. How could she absorb this? You know, and my whole family tried to give her ground, minus this one screwed up family member who did this. That was not my fault. Sorry, speak up, Laz. It was not my fault, and it's not your fault if you're dealing in a similar situation with somebody who's been damaged. On High Priestess, card of Cancer, water energy, Cancer Libra, somebody who can reconcile and balance out these apparent opposites, and who's tapped in because they can listen to the messages. Three of Cups, card of friendship, joy, reunion, celebration. Could be on the next holiday. Some kind of water energy, a certain transformation in feelings that moves us from pain to joy. It's not like you're always landing in joy. We're always making this kind of toggle between these two. The need to retreat and learn the lesson. 3 and 3 is 6, 6 is lovers. This kind of celebratory relationship, reunion, I believe. In my heart of hearts, she was one of my dearest friends. I tried to honor the friendship, and so did she, in our broken way. I couldn't hang. She couldn't stay. I wanted to reach her. She couldn't wait. There's a reunion, I think, next life. Because I always thought, I'll recognize you when we come around next time. On 2 of Wands, 9 of Swords. I think that's the guilt. I couldn't know, this is the 9 card again, I couldn't know what I didn't know. Now that I know, there's a Maya Angelou quote, I think. Now that I know better, I can do better. There's some worry about, how will I know how to go forward? Full of stress and anxiety and some fear to pass through the portal. And I think as I tried to lend her strength, she's now lending me strength. There's actually, when I wake in the night, up in my head, full of questions that bring me fear and anxiety about this forward movement, because I'm embarking on this path. Tell me about the 9 of Swords, please. The fear, the anxiety over the choice. I think that's what it was. Guilt because I had to move forward. I had the world in my hands. I was still alive. I still had paths to walk and life to live. I had to honor my own incarnation as a separate being. I had to decide to move forward, had to decide, in my life, how would I honor Pentacles energy, my life, my own growth. I was still here. So I think she's, from the other side, endorsing my Queen of Wands energy, my ability to tap into my intuition. She's telling me, you'll know what to do. You'll know what to do, Wands energy, intuitively. And now the tables have turned, and I'll help you move forward. You can tap into me, into my strength. I'm really surprised that Strength card hasn't appeared. Is it this one? Yeah. There's the decision again. But not a mental, you can't get there by thinking about it. You get there by doing it, by walking the path into the unknown. You'll have glimmers of intuition about how it's going to be. I will. Tell us about Two of Swords, a crossroads energy. What's the decision? Is it to live my own life because I'm still alive? It's a card of decision, lovers. It used to be in some decks, in original decks, called the card of decision, not of lovers. But it's choosing, deciding to understand and, in sword energy, this is a card of Gemini, of the twins. The decision is to seek out, to move beyond the crossroads, the block, this kind of relationship, because we'll know it when we see it. See, this person's blindfolded. We'll know it when we see it. We'll know it, Gemini energy. We'll be able to recognize, the relationships that go the distance. And not kind of imitate the path she took, which was to absorb the pain and let it wreck her life. And she pulled out at the end of this death spiral. Not long enough, not quickly enough to save her life, but to know that she was trying to pull, it's like when the plane is going down and you're pulling back on the wheel, you're trying to ascend. And I think this is a direction from the other side, from her speaking, even though it can't be spoken, I'm hearing her anyway. Go for joy, go for reunion, go for the connections that matter. Don't cut yourself off, because maybe I have in a way. I'm a Virgo, I go into retreat. And in many ways, I haven't lived an isolated life at all. Tell me about hermit lovers, because one is the self and the other is the connection. And do we have to choose between the two? Hard no. We oughtn't to choose between the two. We ought to pursue both. Our individual and internal truth without compromising the ability to connect. To still believe sword energy in this kind of connection. Wheel of Fortune. Forward movement of the psyche on the level of 5D. Karmic destiny. A situation, a relationship that, that the universe, the place where we're all one, universe, because there's really only one of us, we have great influence on each other, for good or for ill, but ultimately, we're linked up. And I think ahead there lies, great success, great forward movement in a kind of a relationship that is that resonant and that important. Move beyond the crossroads. And you can't get there by thinking about it, at least not in the usual 3D way. You get there by clarity on your deepest, on our deepest level, on our, it has to do with the self and with the connection. and the reconciliation of the two. All these cards of the two. She's the 2 card in Major Arcana. He, she, they. It's the principle of being tapped in. Tapped in. And here it is in 3D. Live your life. Wands energy. Live your life. Pentacles energy. Choose yourself. That doesn't preclude choosing the other. Choosing the self is the prerequisite, self-love, to choosing the other. And to being chosen by the other. It's going to be a reciprocal, balanced, yin-yang relationship. Choose that. And first, honor the self. And then there's reunion time. I think it's coming. Maybe 3 weeks, maybe 3 months, maybe 3 days. It's in Virgo time. And it's taken so long. The journey, the hermit's journey, lit by this lantern, shining the light for yourself and for others. It's been a long journey. And I think to learn from pain and to move away from pain into this kind of sword energy, Gemini energy, being able to recognize the person, the people who are also moving forward. It's a kind of let's get unstuck together, but in order to do that, both parties need to break free. I think the paths, Page of Wands, will converge. 2 of Wands. The paths will converge. Okay? King of Swords. Somebody else knows it too. I'm sorry, I can't get the light. There you go. King of Swords. The person who knows it. This is a card of Aquarius. This is a card of Gemini. Great clarity in, it's like if there was confusion, indecision, 2 of Swords, 2 of Wands, 2 of Pentacles, there's now great clarity, a kind of, remember I said the paths converging? How to get there, what to do, which path to pick. How do we do it? Wands energy. There's a real emphasis on follow intuition. Follow your bliss. Follow your bliss. Lovers, Wheel of Fortune. The universe will lead you there if you follow it. If you find and follow the path. The path forward. King of Swords, Queen of Wands. You may be dealing with an Aquarius, you may be an Aquarius, or a Virgo, or a Cancer, or a Capricorn. But this is the path really that gets you there. Somebody's learned the lesson, is able to step through the portal and get there. And it seems to me, in this lifetime, in this incarnation, that's it. And it's a great one. I mean, it's no small thing. It's no small thing. We're in Virgo time now. Maybe in 3 days. Oh, we have the full moon in Aquarius. Did we have it? Yeah, this guy. Aquarius. I think a clarity will come to this person because some cycle, it's falling into place beautifully. Falling into place. Wheel of Fortune. Beautifully. full moon in Aquarius. Full moon, the end of a cycle, the beginning of the next one. You know, who are we this time? Where do we go? We're led forward by our intuition. And this isn't the moon card, but it certainly is moon energy. Those moon discs that she has on her ears. And I think the other person knows it too. King of Swords. The full moon in Aquarius, which is in day after tomorrow? You know, it's very fast. Pain teaches us, in a way, everything we need to know. Over time, maybe over lifetimes. But something's happened. Some lesson has been learned. There's a new clarity around relationships like this. Lover's Wheel of Fortune. You guys, let's step through the portal if we can and walk the new path. Because this is the lifetime, I really think it is. We have Capricorn. And that doesn't mean there's not anxiety over the pain. 9 of Swords, 3 of Swords. But you move forward anyway. Capricorn, Gemini, Virgo, Cancer, Libra, and Aquarius by implication. This Aquarian full moon. Something's coming to fruition. And it's about time. Hermit. There's been a great deal of patience and perseverance and walking the path, both in the psyche and in 3D. With curiosity, with a willingness to discover, like what lies ahead and how do I get there? New lapel mic on the way. We'll see how that does. You know, a lot of it is I can't speak loudly enough. If you piss me off, I shout. Otherwise, it's like this. I can sing, but not loudly. You know, so I would ask for your patience. I'm doing the best I can. I love you guys, and I'll see you next time. I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a good one. Full moon in Aquarius. Let's go.